Gavin here from UltimateReloader.com. I'm here at the 2023 SHOT Show with Matt Findlay from Annealing Made Perfect. What's happening?
Glad to have you back, Gavin.
Yeah.
Got some exciting stuff to share with you on the press and a few other things, so looking forward to talking to you.
Okay, let's talk amp press updates. Okay, Matt, so for folks that are viewing that haven't seen the amp press, let's talk about what is this thing?
Okay, sure. So essentially with the amp press, it's a diagnostic tool, so you can see the forces involved when you're seating bullets into your cases. So it's not really anything that gives you, it doesn't do the job better than, say, a hand upper press. It's a diagnostic tool to give you data.
Right.
So I thought what we'll do real quickly is a short demonstration.
Okay.
I'll get you to feed the cases into the die, and I'll just run the machine from here.
So is this already set up, or do I need to set the height here?
The die's set for length, and normally what you'd do is you'd take the die and you'd find your seating depth, and then you'd lock it in place once you've done that.
Right.
In this case, it's already been done to an arbitrary length.
Okay, so this is set, and now we're going to just assemble this so we can get a height.
Yeah, so we want to adjust the RAM for the length of the loaded die. So just put that on the base there. Now adjust the length of the RAM.
1/16 of an inch, is that what?
Yeah, about a 1/16 of an inch or 2 millimeter. All right. Yeah, and just finger tight. Okay, so now we've adjusted the RAM to the correct height. You can go ahead and take it out, remove the case and the bullet. Okay, now what we need to do is put the die back on empty.
Yep.
And now we need to do what's called find X0, and that sets the X scale to the appropriate size.
Yep.
So we're ready to go with the die on the load cell. We just come over to find X0. It tells us to adjust the height, so we've done that.
Yep.
Now the RAM comes down, and find X0 has been achieved. So now we're ready to start loading cases.
Yep. And if you want to see more about this, we have videos on all that. I will note that there's been quite a few software updates.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that real soon.
Yes, and this is a good demo.
So now if we take the die out,
Okay.
and we put a case and a bullet inside.
Okay.
All right. Okay, now we'll seat this, and we should get a nice trace on here. Okay. So there's one, and you can see in this particular case we've got a little bit of an anomaly here.
Yep.
So that's interesting. These cases, by the way, they've been used throughout the show.
Right.
They've been pulled and inserted and pulled, so
Yep.
this is not perfect brass by any means. So
Gotcha.
go ahead and take that one out. Okay, now we'll do another one.
Okay.
So the current trace, the last trace that was made is always in red, and previous traces are in blue. So here's another one. So you can see there's a difference that we can see. That the blue one was the one we just did before.
Yep.
The red one is the one we've just done.
Which is, we do see something repeating here. That's kind of interesting.
Yeah, so this one had a little bit of a difference here. There was a slight X-axis variation there, which means that the bullet was probably sticking out a bit further on this one to start
Right.
with.
Right.
But yeah, the same anomaly here.
We want to do
which is-
another one?
Yeah, we'll carry on. We'll do 5.
Let's do it. And so competitors will actually load match ammo with this press. This is what I've seen. And they will, some of them load a couple hundred rounds just to make sure that there's not an outlier in there.
Absolutely.
Right, as a quality control measure.
Okay, so going ahead, click and go again. Okay, so we got even more difference with that one.
Kind of started about a year ago.
So it's just like shooting a group. 3 shots is not really enough. That's why we're doing 5, because we don't know which one's the outlier, right?
Sure, yeah.
That led to that.
So now it's sort of telling us, if we're looking at this area, that this one's the outlier. But I mean, these cases are pretty, they've been worked pretty hard, so we're not expecting great things. Okay, so there's 5. Now you could probably argue, okay, the first one and the 5th one are very similar, and then the others are not very good. So now that we've got 5 traces on here, we can go ahead and look at some variation of some variables. So on here currently we've got terminal force, starting position. I'll just come to view here and add work done and peak force. So we can sort all these traces out. So what we've got here, just to the right of the blue boxes here, is the order that they were put in. So there's number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yep.
Those are the order they were made. And on the left of that, we've got for reference like an Excel, like 1 to whatever just to give you some reference, if I want to sort these traces by the peak force, which in this case is the highest force registered throughout the trace, I can just click peak force here, and now it arranges them in order of peak force from least to highest. So in this case, 1, 5, 2, 4, 3. And you then would go, oh, okay, if I want to arrange my ammo in that order, I can then go and do so. And you can do that with any of these variables here.
Gotcha.
Now, this is all in the manual and in the video that tells you what these mean. And I think now's a good time to go through some software updates.
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so with the very first version of software we released, there were quite a few compatibility issues with the various computers that, Windows and Mac and so on. So what we've done is we've done a complete rewrite of the entire code.
Wow.
And it's far more compatible and more stable now. So if you've got one of those initial presses and you've never updated it, and especially if you loaded the software off the USB stick, you want to update the software. So if you go onto our website under downloads, download the latest version, it'll overwrite the current version you got. And in this case it's version 3.4.0. The actual current version is 3.4.1.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So I'm actually running a slightly older version here. Now, what you'll also see is the firmware for the press has changed as well. So when you open it and connect your press, there will be a red box here. And all you need to do is go to Setup, Advanced, Firmware Upgrade, and if you click on that, it'll take about 5 or 10 minutes and it'll update the firmware on the press. And that'll bring that up to date. One thing we've also added since its release is Bluetooth. You'll note that we're currently connected without a USB cable.
Oh, nice.
To connect to Bluetooth, you just go Commands, and up the top you've got Bluetooth Connect, and it'll connect via Bluetooth if your machine has it. Now, one of the other main things that we did with the update was simplify the whole thing. When it first came out, we decided, well, you've got to make a cartridge profile and session name and all sorts of stuff like that. So what we've done is we've made it far easier to load and save and review traces. It's just like a Microsoft Word document now. You just go File, Open, Save, Save As, Load, Compare, and so on. And some users were very adamant that they wanted export to CSV or Excel, so we've added that back in.
Love it.
You can export a single trace to Excel or the whole session. You can also export an image, and you can do a PDF as well, which is pretty cool. You'll get the entire chart window as one page,
That's awesome.
and all of the legend as a separate ongoing pages, as depending on how many traces you've made. Now this is an important one here, show log directory.
Okay.
If you ever encounter a problem with the software, we want to know about it. That button there takes you to where all of the history, basically what happens in the background, it records all the actions and the commands the user's done, and it stays on your computer, but you can send us this log directory and we can analyze it and go, oh, that's where the problem is, and we can fix it. Okay. You'll see here that we've changed all the sort by options to, we've basically removed them. So you just click on work done, peak force, any of these things here, and that allows you to sort by them. One of the exciting things we're adding very soon is the ability to go and load all your ammo, go shoot it, and then retrospectively come back and add all the velocity for each trace. So you shoot round number 1, that gives you a velocity. You can come back in and for round number 1 go and type in the speed.
Nice.
And then you can do that for all of them. And what we're going to have the ability to do is if you click on that by sorting it, it's going to color gradient all of the traces from fastest to slowest, starting from blue as the slowest ones and gradually changing through purple into red to get to the fastest ones. And hopefully what you'll be able to see is what part of the trace matters, essentially, because we don't know currently if this matters or this matters or this matters. It's still ongoing science for us, and we think that that could really help see, for example, all of the purple ones, which are the mean or the median velocity traces, they're all overlapping here, or they may all be overlapping here or here. We've yet to find out, and we're very excited to add that.
Yeah, because you're essentially correlating what you're seeing with bullet seating with what you're seeing at the range, and ultimately that's what matters, is the understanding of what factors you're really looking for and how to get to the right results.
Absolutely.
Right?
So we hope that, so it may be that your load, it may be this area that's important to you. For someone else, it may be, oh, I'm over here.
Right.
So it's very unique to your situation. But, you know, for example, if you're shooting a 308 in this case, you can go ahead, add all the velocities and do that a few times for that load and then learn that load. And then theoretically, you can go, I know that this area is important and I need to take all the traces that overlap here, and that's my golden standard right there. And anything else that doesn't fit that, I can put aside or make a fouler and so on. And we're also looking at target data.
Okay.
And we're still figuring that out in terms of how we're going to implement that.
Because you have to group traces together with a group that's going to be measuring a certain diameter or whatever, right?
Well, at the moment, we just think we'll give the ability to add a flyer. So if you knew shot number 3, that was a flyer, that was not me, 100% a flyer, you can go and mark that, and then that'll highlight, oh, okay, I had 5 flyers out of 100. What were they doing?
Right.
And so that's another thing that we can easily add.
Very interesting.
So that's pretty much and there's one final thing. We have added a bit of protection framework to the motor. So some users may have noticed that when they seat the bullet down, it may come back immediately and say load cell not detected. That's due to some software we've added so that if the load cell should be disconnected in any way or lose data, the RAM doesn't continuously press down, maxing out.
Right.
And we've had some people burn their motors out, a very small handful of people, and we've had to replace them. But that's to prevent that issue. And there's a small amount of teething issues with it, but we're actually on top of that already. And by the time we're back in New Zealand, we'll be able to release another software update.
Oh, great. So software updates, we were also just talking about my 50 BMG build that's coming up.
Yes, right.
And the ability to run 50 BMG on this.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's a really simple upgrade. Basically, this horseshoe retainer was designed for the diameter of the bottom cup of these dies in mind. Yep. And so basically taking that out of the equation, 50 cal dies are far larger. So we've made a larger horseshoe retainer. You simply undo those bolts and put the new one on.
Right.
And we've got another ram extension, which is essentially a far thinner nut and a really thin ram with a shorter thread that you can wind in and get far more height.
Gotcha.
And that allows you to fit the 50 BMG underneath it.
Very nice.
Now, 50 BMG we found doesn't require any more force to seat than any other round, so the press is more than capable of achieving those as well. So.
Well, this is a really interesting piece of equipment because it really does give you a graphical representation of what's happening, right? What's happening as you're seating the bullet. And if you look at some of the videos we've done, it can be surprising how much what you would think would be a minor factor, like a nylon brushing the case neck, can affect what's happening. And how else are you going to know?
Exactly.
It's just, I can think of a lot of other things we're going to look at. And if you want to know more about the amp press, we're going to have a link in the article. So click on that first link in the video description. And then you're going to also want to check out the other videos that we've done with the system. Thank you, Matt, for showing us this. We've got more Annealing Made Perfect content coming up here at the show. You're going to check that out as well. Here's what we'd like to know from you is, what do you think of the amp press? What bullets would you be seating with it? What cartridge would you be running? And what kind of analytics would you be looking for? Drop a comment and we'll start a discussion. That concludes this video, and that means it's time to wrap it up. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, we're on Facebook, YouTube, Rumble, where we've got unrestricted content, and Instagram. Make sure to follow us on all those channels. Ultimate Reloader also has a commercial solutions division serving law enforcement, the military, and the gun industry. We have some unique capabilities, including a comprehensive suite of recoil testing and evaluation capabilities, trigger profiling, and more. If you're interested in custom rifles like what we build here on the channel, or gunsmithing services, you're going to want to go to rifles.ultimatereloader.com and get on the wait list. If you're interested in becoming a professional gunsmith, check out the Sonoran Desert Institute. They've got a degree program, they've got a certificate program, and you can study from home. Learn more at sdi.edu. Thanks again for watching.